This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain, Bean Gene. Bean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Hello, America, and welcome to the #1 radio station in all of Fort Myers Beach. Beach Talk Radio. Here are your hosts, Kim and Ed Ryan.
Yes, it does, Dan. It certainly does. And thank you all for tuning in to episode number 39 of Mondays with the Mayor. Before we get to the Mayor and our special guest kind of co-host, I want to tell you that the show is sponsored in part by Valerie's Lounge, which is now non-smoking and is open Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. till 2 a.m. They're open Saturdays and Sundays from 9 until 2 with drink specials daily. And Valerie's Lounge has a comedy showcase once a month. And the next one is October 29th at 7 o'clock with guest host Stacy Steele. No way, Stacy Steele. They have local, regional, and last month a national comic came out to practice his next show. Come and see them at Valerie's Lounge. And you know they're located just kind of across the Walmart before you get to Fort Myers Beach. So episode number 39, and we bring on the star of the show. I don't see Frankie's camera working, only his box down there. Mayor Allers, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me again.
So the first question I want to start with is tomorrow's meeting with the LPA. And
can we just say a little like nice entry?
Go right ahead. That's what you're for. You're for all the niceties.
It looks like, are you at where are you located right now, Dan?
I'm in the Dan cave.
Did you get kicked out of the house?
Is that
it's just Megan works from home, and it's probably just best that we work in separate areas. And she won't let me have a desk inside the house, so I'm relegated to the Dan cave.
Gotcha.
Well, I just want to congratulate you. I saw your post that you're going to be taking reservations starting November 1st for the Island Carts, FMB Island Carts. Is that correct?
That's correct. We're pretty excited about it. We were able to go up Saturday and look at the ones that actually came in, so hopefully by the end of this week, we should have them. Give us some time to get the logos on them and get them ready.
And you guys are going to be part of the Margaritaville resort when you open, right? That's you made a deal back with them way before the storm hit or anything like that. It was a deal in place that you had when you had carts before the storm.
Yeah, we had ordered those carts probably about a year ago, and those just came in. So there'll be 10 carts that are there exclusive to the residents that are staying at Margaritaville. They can rent them if they're staying there.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Anything else? Or are you good?
I just wanted to start it off with, something good.
Did you stay for the entire concert? Did you watch Matchbox 20? Because we kind of left before they started.
We made it through most of it. We kind of left towards the end. We were there for quite a long time, as you guys were as well. So we stayed through most of it. But they were really good. So was Don. Is it Feder? Don Feder?
Don Felder.
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 Yeah. We saw. I got to see half of it from out in the audience and half of it up on the backside of the stage there. So that guy's pretty talented for. I think they said he's mid-70s. They were all really good. I mean, everybody there that performed was really good, and it was nice job by Jay Allen with the national anthem.
Yep.
Yeah, some people that I talked to that were sitting out, some friends of mine that were just happened to be at the concert. I was all rave reviews, so that's good to know and good to hear.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a good turnout. It was much better than I expected it to be. Some of those things being a first time event, they have a tendency to have some hiccups, but at least from where I was standing and from where everybody else was standing, it seemed to go pretty well.
Frankie is going to join us, I think, but Frankie got to
he's having trouble.
Oh, he is. You got to unmute your mic and your camera if you can, or maybe just exit and re-enter and see if it works that way, because we can see you in the green room. Your box is down there. It looks like you unmuted the mic. Now we'll just need to get you to get the camera to work. So Dan, tomorrow's
He could mess up a 1-car parade. This guy, come on.
he's trying. You can see him working something.
Yeah.
So tomorrow's agenda is out for the joint town council LPA meeting, and it should be a pretty big deal, right? I mean, it looks like there's going to be some changes.
It's possible. I mean, it's a pretty big agenda, so hopefully we can get through it before dark. There's some things to discuss there, but I think at tomorrow's meeting there'll be some clarity to a lot of things coming out of it one way or another, and we can continue to move forward.
For folks that aren't following it so closely, what are some of the big topics that are going to be on the agenda?
Some of the, well, here, I'll tell you exactly so I don't.
Yeah, and folks, you can go on the town's website if you want to take a look at the agenda tonight or before the meeting. The LPA is going to meet at 10, and I'm guessing they're going to have a short meeting, and then you guys will kind of join them at 11 o'clock, and then we'll go from there and see what happens.
So on the agenda for tomorrow, there are several things. Give me just a second. I'll pull it up.
Sure.
It is keeping a floor area ratio and density at the current levels, allowing parking on ground level to not count towards FAR if built to 3 feet above base flood elevation, maintain the creation of beach views and view corridors as a priority within the plan, changing transient hotel units for density to FAR, location and size of activity centers, what to project or protect, promote open space and view corridors in exchange for height and alternative design opportunities, create a clear step system within each category that directs how intensities and densities are approved, marinas separate or subsection of a mixed use district, and development agreements with deviations. Those are the topics, pretty broad, but a lot of them will kind of, I think, go together.
How often does the LPA and the town council do combined meetings?
Not very often, but since the storm, I think this will be our third joint meeting. Normally before the storm, I think it was usually once a year, try to get together and touch on some things that we need to work on. Usually the LPA calls for the joint meeting so that we can give them direction or hear their thoughts to give them direction. So this, obviously after the storm, things changed a little bit. So it's important to get everybody together and try to speed it up as much as we can.
Frankie, it looks like you have a screen. What do you call that? A background screen there.
Like a virtual.
Yeah, virtual screen. I think if you get rid of the background screen,
we'll actually
and unmute
see
it,
you.
we'll probably see you.
Right now, we just see a
brick wall, and this is the town's operations manager. Everybody.
There's so many jokes there.
I mean, what can people like? What can the residents expect the results of the meeting to be tomorrow? Will it be 100% clarity going to the next council meeting so you guys can approve something that's final, or does it need to go to the state? I mean, tell us.
Yeah, so tomorrow the discussions will be finalized as far as the direction of where we're going to go. Then once the wording is corrected by staff, whichever way it goes, it'll go back to the LPA. And then it'll come to the council, and then from there, the comp plan would go to the state for ratification.
Okay. Are you expecting big changes, or you have no idea?
You know, it's hard to say. I think I've been pretty vocal about my thoughts on it, so I don't know much more I could say. Everything I plan on saying, I'll say tomorrow at the meeting.
Okay. All right, so that's going to be 11 o'clock tomorrow. The town's going to be streaming it, so we'll carry that live so everybody can watch it if they don't plan on going. You can, of course, go. I know one of the things that you want is you want people to show up and provide public input so you can hear from the community. You've been saying that all along.
Yeah, I think it's important. We've received some emails, at least today and over the weekend. People, as they start to read the agenda, start putting in their 2 cents, and that's what we need. That's what we like to hear. You know, I keep saying at the end of the day, we work for the community. So whatever the community, the majority of the community wants, that's what our job is, to vote the way that they want us to vote. And we'll see how many more we get in between today and tomorrow, but there's been a few coming in today.
Okay, and just for people that are watching today that haven't paid attention to our Facebook page, tomorrow you should definitely be subscribed to our newsletter, because we have a fairly big story that I think it was a fairly big story that I think we're going to be the first to have tomorrow. So I don't want to give it away. I want people to read it tomorrow in the newsletter, and that's going to be right around 6 o'clock when it comes out. So we're going to try and avoid the operations questions until we can get Frankie on and kind of keep it at the higher level to shoot him at you until he's ready.
So big news tomorrow, you think?
I think.
On your birthday?
Oh,
Just throwing that out
that's not
there.
the news.
That's not the news, but tomorrow is Ed's birthday. So
Well,
all
happy
right, so-
75th, Ed.
yeah. All
There he
right.
is.
So
Yeah,
There
we got
he
him
is.
working on his phone.
all right. So what is the status of signing the new permitting company? Is that complete, and how will that change or improve the current permitting process?
You gotta
You
unmute-
have to unmute.
You gotta unmute yourself, Frankie.
There you go. Oh,
There we go. Hello, everybody.
oh, there you go.
Thank
For anybody that doesn't know, Frankie Kropacek, did I say that right?
Kropacek.
Kropacek is the operations and compliance manager, or did they change your title? Because I know you got a promotion.
Yeah, I also am interim community development director as well, among parking cars and sweeping alleys.
Nice.
So yeah, we pretty much do it all. One-stop shop.
Cool. Well, congratulations and welcome
Thank
to
you.
the show.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. To answer your question, the Jacobs Group is just going to accent what we have in-house. So according to the press release that was out last week, we have taken Steve Popovsky and are utilizing his role to benefit the town more as a town engineer. The Jacobs Group is going to be bringing their own building official, as well as permit techs, inspectors, in-house planning, those type of activities to accentuate what we already have as far as our permit techs and our planning department. The whole move here was basically twofold. One, to get everything on this coast. Most of the planning firms that we had contracts with over the last several years were Miami-based and over on the East Coast. And it's hard for those people to get on board when you're talking about your town being ground zero and completely devastated, and they just read about it in the paper. And I think the level of humanity was lacking in that place. So that kind of precipitated Andy looking in this direction, our town manager, Andy Hyatt. The Jacobs Group is currently doing services for the town of Bonita, and they're having a great success with that. There's kind of more or less streamlining the service because there's going to be more people at play to get those permits out. So that's our direction here as far as moving forward with that. Currently, the contract is just about ready to be delivered. I believe our legal was just kind of conferring with a few things with their legal, and we should have that up and going very, very shortly, like within a few days.
So now with is the town engineer position, is that a new position, or was that just an unfilled position before?
Well, it was kind of a combo position. We had an employee here that was more of a project manager, although he had an engineering background. So we basically just, instead of, you have to excuse me, one of my birds here is kind of acting up in the background. But the town
Wondering
engineer,
what that was.
yeah,
Sounded like a really little dog if it wasn't a bird.
well, he won't. And I'm really
Yeah.
kind of trying to keep one eye on him because some things can fly and not
He
him.
flies right onto the show, man.
Yeah,
It'd
no, I
be
know
perfect.
it's a family show, so I've told him to kind of keep mind his P's and Q's. But to get back to your question, the town engineer's position is basically just a morph off of that project manager's position. He's basically going to be helping Andy and I with some of the larger projects, like the Tier 1 project that's going to be launching here shortly, and also the build back as far as our new town hall and in areas like that. So it's just nice to have an analytical mind that the two of us can soundboard off of, and also take a little of the workload off of both of us.
So the Jacobs Group is the first time we've actually publicly heard the name of the company, and this will be the firm that replaces the outsourced firm on the other coast. And Dan, why do you think this company is going to provide better service to the residents?
I think, as Frankie said, the fact that they're here, they're local, they're on this coast, they do the permitting work for Bonita as well. So speaking with some of the council members there, speaking with the town manager over there, they're very happy with their services. Meeting with their head guy, he seems very knowledgeable. He understands what is important to us, process being number one, and getting these permits out as expeditiously as possible are the two main concerns. So we've been talking with him for months. It seems like it has been months, and I think it'll be a step in the right direction.
All right, so let's add this question from Yvonne. Well, please clarify, will this be for all permit types, pools, roofs, buildings, etc.?
I can speak to that one. It definitely will be. It's going to handle all of our permitting that we do in-house. Now, that said, we are still trying to take a more human approach when it comes to people putting back fences in their yards that had fences, people that are not doing structural work. So I want to rephrase that, and frame that out. Pardon that. Structure is basically,
don't worry about it. Our dogs walk in and out.
We hear you fine. We hear you fine.
So structure is basically defined as anything from the structure itself to ground or to grade. Those issues we have to follow code with. There's no gray area when it comes to building code. So those are the things that we are definitely going to be running to ground with as we build back the town. It's the other things that kind of people have been gut punched over the last few months, and that's the gravel, the landscaping, the fencing, those type of issues. We're going to be starting, we have been, I should say, dealing with those on a case-to-case basis, and deciding whether or not they actually do need the permit, or if we just need to put a note in their file that they're just basically putting back exactly what was before the storm.
Gotcha. Okay, so you mentioned Tier 1, and I think it's important to explain to people that are watching what Tier 1 is, and then if you can give us an update on Bahia Via and how that project's coming along. You could see a lot of work has been done over the last few days in the front part of the road. There was still kind of a big puddle in the back part. So what's the status of that road?
Well, what we've done is we've installed two, for lack of a better term, French drains, one in the upper and one in the lower part of that first entry off of Estero onto Bahia Via. And we are waiting until Wednesday, I believe, which would be just a couple of days here to get our locates so we can attach those or get those flowing into the two stormwater drains, which are on the north side of Bahia Via by the commercial building there. So one sits right adjacent to that building, and the other one is on the far side of that drive in the back, right by a power pole. And the French drains will be emptying into those and relieving a lot of that water pressure that will continue to be there until we get there with Tier 1.
Okay, and Frankie, just for the folks that might not know, I didn't know, what does Tier 1 mean? What does that mean?
Tier 1 was just a designation of the continuation of the stormwater sewer update that we had throughout the town. I guess they had started it a number of years ago and started going at different locations. Just so happens that the starting point or the kickoff point for Tier 1, which is an all-new stormwater system drain in tie-in, will be happening on Bahia Via. So that was the first road to get it anyway, once it does come to fruition here, probably looking at like mid-November to December.
Got it. Anything you want to throw in, Dan, or we got that one?
No, I think he covered it. We were working on these tiers before the storm hit, obviously, and had to backtrack and do a lot of work to get the storms cleaned out. So it did put us behind a little bit.
Go ahead.
All right. So has the corner property in Times Square, that Pierside, where Pierside was, received a letter from the town?
So basically, a lot of these things, what we've done is we've got pretty close to over 100 commercial and residential properties that were sent letters. We went through bit by bit, looked at every residential property, ran them to ground as far as if they had applied for permits with the town, and we sent our letters out to those people. Out of the ones that we sent the letters to, we had no way of knowing if they were already enrolled in a FEMA product, such as the mitigation, the elevation mitigation program that FEMA had done with the folks right after Ian. We don't have privy to government database or government addresses, so that's why we had put the 3 different phone numbers on the bottom of those letters for folks, if they did get one, all of a sudden to say, hey, wait a minute here, we're already signed up with this program. Just kind of give us a call, let us know, and we would make that notation moving forward. The important thing here is we want to make sure, for the lack of a better word, start a case with these people so that we do follow the right timelines. We're under the gun with FEMA ourselves to make this happen. So this is all part of the recovery process that you have to take care of your community. And here we are a year past Ian. We got our house in order by taking Old Town Hall down. This is the time now to start looking at that. And then getting right to your question, what you had asked about the Times Square properties. There's a few properties, commercial properties in that area that we have not yet sent letters to. We're probably going to be looking at a different approach, possibly going through our legal counsel to approach those folks.
Because that one piece. Sorry.
I think that they, I didn't get a chance to check on it today, but I was able to speak with the owner of that property. So they're going to be putting up at least some orange fencing around there. I saw they were putting some snake-ins the other day, so I didn't get a chance to see if that was completed. So at least that's it.
When I was up there on Saturday doing the video, it wasn't all the way around yet, but you could see that they had started to put up the safety fence, which, I mean, that is a dangerous spot. The concrete is broken down in there, and it didn't look like anything was touched. And I think I understand why now, but still, it's still a dangerous spot. And the fence would help.
Yeah, I met the owner out there last Thursday afternoon, as he was just staking out at that time where the fence was going to go. And I noticed that when I was touring the town yesterday morning, that the fence was up.
Gotcha. All right, so let's go back to question here about the he's got a question here. Why is a survey required for a replacement fence when the damaged old fence is still there?
Some of that information is bad information. Some of that information is not ingenuous to what the people are trying to achieve. Again, we're trying to approach this on a case-to-case basis. I would suggest that the person either contact me directly or reach out to the code enforcement department. Vinner Berta is the code manager, and we could have someone stop out there, assess your property, compare that to the old firm. Again, if you're putting a 6-foot vinyl fence back where you had a 6-foot vinyl fence and there's no changes to the outline of that fence, there is no way the town should be in your way for having that done.
And but you guys.
Well, but I think
making the
studio ADs. We have had a couple of cases, and Frankie knows at least of one for sure where something was placed on the wrong side of someone's property, and that could be part of the reason. I'm definitely not a building official, but studio AD makes a very good point.
Yes,
that's Albert. That's Albert. Everybody knows Albert. Yep.
And that's kind of why we're trying to treat it as a case-by-case basis. We have a few more boots on the ground available to us besides our 2 full-time code gentlemen right now, with a new plan of action that we've kind of put into place. So more eyes and ears out in the neighborhood is assisting with getting the proper photographs, getting the proper communication to these people.
Gotcha. And if somebody needed to call you, like you said, what number should they call?
I'll give you my direct line. It's 239-955-3612. The best thing to do is text me. Let me know who you are. If you have a permit pulled, what the permit number is. Maybe a little brief synopsis of the problems that you may be encountering. Again, it's all about not trying to push people to their limits, which they already are past. Is to try to get people to comply, plain and simple. And there's always a solution to get it to that point.
You had a follow-up.
So when you were talking about the letters that got sent out, did you say about 100 letters?
Yes, ma'am. We have over, I would say slightly over, I'd say probably close to about 120, both residential and commercial property letters have been sent out.
And have you heard back from any, some, a few?
We have heard back from quite a few, actually. People that were willing to, either talk with us, or people that expressed the fact that they already were in the FEMA mitigation program. Again, those same people are still kind of being put on a case, so to speak. Now, when I say case, it just means as a reference with us that we will touch base back with them in a few months and make sure that their whatever program they signed up for is working, or they've heard back from them, and just kind of keep in touch that way.
This question came in late, Dan and Frankie. Somebody wanted to know if the county was going to be putting up signs at the crosswalks. As season starts to pick up, more people come down. The crosswalks are on the ground, but the signs are all gone. Are they all going to be replaced at some point?
That's on my list to talk to Commissioner Sandelli about, because I got an email today about it. I wasn't quite sure if they were talking about the illuminated signs or not. I have, in case anybody's listening, the crosswalk that we were originally talking about that was going to get implemented down on Linnell Road by the fire station, the CVS down there. I did talk to Commissioner Sandelli about that. So that's on their radar again. As you remember, that was going to be getting installed, or was on the path to being installed just before the storm hit. So we are talking to them about it. As we hear concerns, I'll bring them to him, and he brings them to his staff.
Do you, Dan, by the way, speaking of the county, do you know if that fence at Crescent Park is going to be taken down, that chain link fence they have there, or are they going to leave it up?
I don't know. I can ask that, because we asked them to if they would clean up, or we could help them clean up Crescent Park. And you could see they obviously did. They came down, and I think our staff, Frankie, if you helped them trim the trees, and then they came in with heavy equipment, got rid of the concrete and cleaned it up nice.
It looks
so
great. It looks
Yeah,
great. I mean, except for the fence. But
Well,
it looks great now.
yeah, I'll have to ask them. I'm guessing that their worry is they take the fence down. We see what happens. People see that as a parking lot, and the next thing you know, this weekend.
But on that,
AAA is getting called.
and that spot, you actually have to drive over the curb and the sidewalk to get into that park, right? I mean, you have to drive on the sidewalk to get into. I mean, I would put it past people.
They do.
Yeah. So Debbie wants. I think the answer to that question, Debbie, is that list is public. It's a public list. I mean, I guess if you want to know if you're on the list, or you call the town, or I don't know who they should call to ask. I got the list from the town clerk, and she sent it over to me. So I don't know, but it's a public document.
That's right. So the best thing to do for a records request is just go through our town clerk, Amy Baker, and request a list of any of the properties that we might have already sent letters to.
All right. So any update on the FPL lights and Lee County getting the money from the state, and when we might start to see that project begin?
Yeah, we're all on board. We met with FPL. Frankie and I did last week, at the end of last week, just to go over the contract, let them know where we were at. We spoke with the county. They received the same determination letter that we did from FDEM, and in that it stated specifically that money goes directly to the Fort Myers Beach. So as soon as those funds get put out to our bank accounts, we will get it over to us fairly quickly. And we were told initially from FDEM that we can expect around the 15th or shortly thereafter that those funds will become available. So as soon as we get those funds, we can sign that contract with FPL. They've told us that their goal, if we can get it signed and everything done by the end of the month, they told us that they could start putting stuff up as soon as December, and their concentration is going to be down Old San Carlos in the very dark area at the base of the bridge first. So the longest lead time are going to be the new poles that they have to put up for these lights. So, but they can get the new lights for Old San Carlos fairly quick, is what they told us, and they've let us know that we let them know that our goal is before the end of the year to at least have that area lit before we get into the hardest season. And they assured us they will do the best they can as soon as we can get the contract signed.
Now, we were talking about the letters that you sent out to businesses and residents. What about CenturyLink? What about those boxes? Is the town?
That's the $64 question. So here's a little thing that people, I guess there's a misconception with the whole CenturyLink thing. The town does not issue a permit to CenturyLink to come in like they do with the fiber optic program that they're doing right now. The Neutrality Act for Communications pretty much takes all the power out of our hands as far as a municipality, a county, or even a state government. They pretty much have the right to come in and do whatever they want. That said, they do not have the right to come in and litter our town. And those old communication and phone boxes all the way up and down Estero especially have been an eyesore from day one. They continue to be. We have contacted them to no avail. They say that they're going to attempt to do it, but it's a logistical nightmare and such. So we've taken matters into our own hands. We've gotten all GPS readings of all outstanding boxes that are currently on the island that are damaged, and along with photos, put them into a file. We've notified CenturyLink, and we're working with our legal counsel as far as drafting a pseudo or a quasi violation letter, just similar to the ones that we did for the demolitions and the vacant land. And we're sending that off to CenturyLink this week.
If you read
Yeah, I
the-
mean, those things.
if you read the newsletter, you'd know that.
Well,
asked the
you
question.
put the question there.
Question wasn't on that.
There was
it
a-
on.
Not to backtrack, but there I saw Greg Miller ask a question
Yeah.
about the lights on the stereo and they can't be placed on the new concrete poles. The lighting system that's going in will be a town-owned system. Because it's a town-owned system, so there's a regulated and non-regulated side of FPL. The non-regulated side, you can't put poles on FPL's concrete. You can't put lights on their concrete poles. So they'll be putting in, I think it was 442 new poles down Estero Boulevard. And if you want to see what they look like, they're not the big concrete poles like you see out there now. If you go to the northwest corner of where Walmart is, whatever that street is, I can't think of it off the top of my mind, but instead of turning right into Walmart, if you look over to your left on the northeast corner, there's a pole that's there that's similar to the ones that will be up and down Estero Boulevard, because the lights will be at, I think it's 22.5 feet. So they're a much smaller pole. They're just specifically for a light pole, and all the electricity for those will be underground. So there'll be nothing new going above head, and that's for the entire island.
So sounds like a major project. Are they going to take down the other poles?
No, those are electric poles. Those supply the electric power, and I think Comcast is on there. So these poles will be specifically for lights and lights only.
Now, will they have to tear up the sidewalk or tear up what's behind this? Maybe some of the property.
It didn't. No, from the plans, it looks like they'll do direct boring underground to be able to handle that. And they told us they expect it to take about a year to complete the entire island.
Yep.
Wow. So you mentioned Old San Carlos before. What's the update on that traffic light? I mean, it's probably not a priority. I mean, there's not a ton of traffic, but I know you mentioned that it was in the works.
Frankie, if I'm not mistaken, isn't that don't we have an interlocal with the county to maintain that or fix that?
That is correct, sir. Basically with LEDOT, and it goes back to some of their signage that they have on Estero and other main thoroughfares that they have. They've been impacted just like everyone else has with the loss of signs and lights. So they're waiting for their FEMA mitigation funds to come through and going through and fixing pole upon pole first. I'm sure it's just a matter of time here before they get to us. We have kind of, I've made a few phone calls their direction, and they've returned in kind. So those talks are ongoing at best, but we are definitely shooting to try to get that handled before season takes off.
A good question by Greg. One last one on the lights. This does include the side street projects too, right, Dan? All the side streets that originally the county was going to do, and then there's this whole discussion about swapping the money for the side. Anyway,
so FPL is working closely with Lee County and FDOT because they are still doing. Their plan is still to pay for and do the crosswalks that we've all talked about. So our plan, they're going to integrate our plan and their plan together so that you're not duplicating things. And then they are, yes, doing the side streets, North Estero Boulevard and Old San Carlos. So every street, but they'll start with Estero Boulevard first.
Gotcha. And let's put Lori's question up on the screen. Probably a county question, I think. When will the sidewalks be repaired? There are quite a few places on the beach side where there is no sidewalk at all.
Yeah, I've been trying to, any place I see, I've been trying to, I send it up to Commissioner Sandelli and he usually gets it to his staff and they get out there, especially if it's something that's really a safety hazard. And I see, like today I was out on my bike and noticed some of the curbing is chipped up pretty good here and there. But if you see any sidewalks that are missing sections, either send them to me or send them to Commissioner Sandelli and he can have his staff, or send it to me and I can send it to him and he'll have his staff address it as soon as they can.
Yeah,
I can take note of that on my bike ride.
Oh yeah, Brian Farrar. I talked to him on the phone today. He's running for what the hell's he running for? Oh, county commission. I completely forgot. He said he was on the beach today. And he saw you on your bike. And I asked him if it was a regular bike or it was motorized, and he said no, it was a regular bike. You're out getting your exercise, but you had earbuds in. Were you wearing a helmet?
I was not wearing a helmet.
Oh, of course you weren't wearing a helmet. Setting a good example for the kids, Dan. Go right ahead without a helmet on.
Listen,
especially with the broken sidewalks out there.
You know how hard it is to find a helmet for the head this size? I got a big.
We can find one for you. We can find. We
one.
found one for me. Look at how big my head is, and I mean they are not an attractive, accoutrement.
Oh, look at Debbie. My neighbor fell
You
off
can
his
find-
bike on an air.
If you can
Well, I'm
find
not
a-
laughing, Debbie.
Find a purple one with some Viking horns on it. I'll be happy to wear it.
Maybe
It has
I'll
to go there.
I'll make one for you.
What was your? I mean, I have nothing to brag about, but what's your record now?
But we're 1-4.
Yeah,
1-4.
come on. We're all in the same boat, man. With the
Yeah, all one-score games. It's just you can't continue to fumble the ball and
No. Doesn't
Kirk
lead to
Cousins
anything.
can't throw the ball from his back. So if you can't protect the guy, it's going to be a long season.
You want to ask? The
which one?
Strand View.
Which one? This. Okay, I don't know what we're doing here. Will the Strand View be crosswalk?
Will the Strand View crosswalk get flasher lights? It's a very dangerous crosswalk.
Not that I'm aware of. There's not any flashing crosswalk lights going up at this time that I've heard.
Gotcha. Let's get an update on the Bay Oaks repairs. How's that coming along?
We've had a contractor in there for about a little over a month now, getting the gymnasium back into shape. I know most of the hardcore demo has been done. We're in the phase now of going through and doing the finalized demo. Our deadline is still trying to hold fast to that November 1st date. That was a agreement that we had with the school district. Whether they meet their end or not, that's up to them. But we are still very hopeful that we are going to meet our deadline.
Sounds good. And Frankie, what about the town hall trailers? What's the target date for those?
We're still shooting for the end of October here, Ed. We are in constant communication with the builder, which is Box Modular. The trailers themselves are being manufactured as we speak up in Georgia. They had put a rush, in other words, a whole assembly line just for our trailers. We have hopes of getting them on site across in the Bay Oaks property there, just on the other side of the Little League field where the old softball field was. So we should be up and running no later than the middle of November.
And so people know that are watching, your meetings will be held there. People can go down and check on their permits. They can pick up their parking passes. They can pick up, meet with the town staff. It's just going to be a better setup than it is now.
That's correct. It's going to work out better for everyone. What we're calling the town hall trailer is actually a quad trailer. So it's going to be 4 trailers in one. And it's going to have all those offices up front when you walk in the door to have permitting, utilities, parking. All those questions can be asked the town clerk. All those questions can be asked right up front. And then in the back of that trailer, walking through a wall, not literally, but figuratively, in the back, we'll have the dais. So it'll roughly seat about 75 people. And we'll be able to hold, moderate size town hall functions and meetings there. Anything larger, we would still probably have to use another facility.
It's cheaper.
A lot cheaper than where we're at right now. The state was very generous to us after the storm to get us these trailers that we're in currently. The lease on those trailers that the state was picking up ended in July. We've since taken over payments. If we would continue in those exact trailers that we're in, and that's the only show in town really with that company, it was almost twice as much as going out and pursuing brand new trailers made to our specifications. And people bandy about the part about the contract being a 4-year contract. Just like anything else, when you buy a car or lease a car for 4 years, if you get out of it after that 2.5 to 3 year thing, there are penalties in that you ensue. And this contract, we made sure that the company was willing to work with us, knowing that we wanted to be in a permanent town hall by the end of that term. And if we were able to achieve that quicker, that they would let us out of that lease, and they in fact did so through the language that they provided.
And for anyone that's joining us late, we did talk about the joint meeting earlier. It is open to the public at Diamond Head at 11 o'clock. The agenda is on the town's website now, in the normal place where you can click on the top and find agendas. And the council and the LPA members do want you to go and provide public input. I mean, you can watch the meeting, but you can't provide public input that way. But if you go to Diamond Head, I'm guessing you're going to give them 3 minutes, or whoever's running the meeting is going to give them 3 minutes to speak. And then the meeting will be held from there at 11 o'clock, the joint meeting, but it is open to the public, and both groups want the public to show up. So just a reminder, if you joined us.
Yeah, it wasn't, to Karen's point, it wasn't listed on the agenda that's published public comment, but there will be public comment allowed.
Gotcha. So, speaking of town hall, I don't know if it's a plan yet, but there was a discussion that the Bay Oaks building, the new Bay Oaks building, would include the town hall, and you'd kind of consolidate the couple of buildings that maybe save the taxpayers some money by doing that. Is that any further along? Do you have the starting of a plan, or is that go to the Bay Oaks committee first, or how's that whole process going?
Well, to be totally honest with you, basically we have set out with 4 different firms, 4 different vetted architectural firms that we just had briefly brought them in, showed them the Bay Oaks sites, which that was already site approved last year before the storm, to put that recreational center in that complex and some of the new designs and configurations within that park. So we just had some preliminary talks. Out of the 4, we basically had down to 2. And out of those 2, Andy and I are still in the process of trying to get everything that we need before we can start taking it to the elected officials and seeing how they feel moving forward. Again, this is just preliminary at this point. The most important thing is finding that dancing partner that's willing to go with you through the long haul. We believe we have the right one. We just want to really make sure before anything gets out there.
Can you share perhaps an estimated cost for something like that for the public to know?
At the moment, no, because what I'd like to say is put it this way. It's going to be more resilient, more hardened than probably any town hall in south from Orlando south. It's definitely going to be a testament to what can be done and a lasting structure, not a fortress, but a structure that can withstand a lot. It's definitely not going to be an old bank building, I'll tell you that.
Shoot, what was I going to say? Crap.
You'll have to bear with him. This happens every once in a while.
Yeah.
He has a birthday tomorrow. He's losing his brain cell.
After tomorrow.
After tomorrow, yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to get worse.
Yeah. You have a question because it's going to come back to me.
Oh, well, you took him to my question.
No, you could ask Frankie about that's an easy one.
Oh, yes. The town has announced a concert series at Bayside Park starting Sunday. Is that going to be an every Sunday thing?
You know, sitting with our parks director, Jeff Hauge, after you guys were so nice to open it up with that concert for Candy that you did, and that great band that kicked that off that night, you know, we sat back there and we were talking with the owners to the other side of our beautiful park there, and said what a wonderful marriage this would be. You know, it's there to serve a purpose. It's there to provide to the community, and it's also there to kind of energize that part of the downtown. And so, we kind of talked it around a bit and kicked it around a bit, and we would love to have at least a once a month, if not twice a month, in the future, some kind of something there, or whether it's a storyteller, whether it's a guy with a harmonica, some kind of act where people can come and interact with. As you saw from that kickout concert that we had with you, it was phenomenal. The people just feeding off of, you know, just that space. That space was made to do that. I mean, that's what it's there for. And I couldn't be prouder of our team for really busting their hump to get that done with the time frame that I committed to the mayor on. And so it's one of those things where now it's up to the community to sit back and relax and enjoy it to all it's worth. And getting back to your question, I think Jeff had showed me a preliminary thing. Again, we don't want to step on the foot of, you know, Wahoo Willie's, who has entertainment lined up and whatnot. So we're trying really hard to work with everybody in that area to make sure that we don't do that and that we can still kind of benefit from it together.
Yeah, and for anyone that doesn't know, the town, Wahoo Willie's and Snug Harbor are co-sponsoring the event on Sunday, which from 5 to I think it's 8 will be Chasing Denver. And they're a super popular duo, and it's a great band to have in that park on Sunday at 5 o'clock. So I think that Peter is going to have at Wahoo's music before and music after inside. So the coordination with the music is working on Sunday. But you're right, the location, I mean, it's just a great park. It turned out great, and it's perfect for that kind of atmosphere. And I'm sure Nervous Nellies, when those guys open back up, will be part of of the team too, to get people down there until something, who knows when, ever gets figured out in Times Square. That's where people are going to be going. That's the spot where people use parking, and it's a great place to have a meal and to watch some music.
And to that point, Ed, I mean, I've mentioned this to the mayor and to Andy Hyatt, our town manager. Conceptually speaking, when you're at that park and you look down towards Times Square and the clock that the Mershmans was so great in donating back to the town, or if you're at the clock looking back up Old San Carlos, my conception is that's the park. It's a living park, that whole space. And as it gets built back and as those establishments open, as more people come to that area, that park is alive every single day from bay to beach. And that's what my conception of it is, at least until we find out what is going to be the ultimate plan for like Times Square and that whole area.
And I did remember the question that I forgot earlier, and I wrote it down. What is the status of the land swap with the fire department?
We're in the final hours, I think. There's a few little hiccups along the way as far as getting certain things situated that meets both of our needs moving forward. For lack of a better word, it is a gentleman's agreement. It is what it is. You know, their lot for our lot. Chief Worth has been more than amicable in working with this whole entire time. And we just want to make sure that all of our promises are kept to them and theirs to us. So it is at that final stage, so to speak, but there's just a little bit ways to go yet.
Dan, anything you want to add to that, or any of the
it's in the legal hands now. So
I see.
Now it's just got to go through that final, the final dotting of the I's and crossing of the T's. And as Frankie said, I think there's a few things that we have to clean up on our end, but it's still moving forward.
Frankie, is there anything that you want to share with the people watching or that may watch it later on that we missed?
I just want to say thank you to the both of you. You who do so much for our town, and it's great to have community partners. It's another thing to have a community advocate, and you guys are definitely that and then some. For what you've done for Bay Mount House with the Candy Drive, what you continually do for the town, and always putting us in a good light, I hope. And calling on us when we are doing
well, not always.
Those are the only way that we can make adjustments and make corrections rather, is when we are called on it. So I mean, Andy said it when he came on board. I'm just echoing it. We want to be totally transparent in everything that we do. That said, there is a time and a place to be transparent. You can't talk about something until it's finalized. That's not proper procedure. So once things do get finalized, hey, we're out there for our comments. But again, on behalf of myself, I want to thank you both for everything that you do.
Well, thank you, Frankie, for saying that.
You.
And this current
and now his head is not
No.
going to fit in his helmet either.
this
Now
current crop of folk on the town
Did it
council and the
before?
administration has been more transparent than previous ones. So thank you for that. And Frankie, thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you
Appreciate
for
it.
having me.
All right, Frankie. I'm not even going to try and say his last name again. So, and Dan, did you want to now take back everything nice he just said about us?
Everything he said?
Yeah.
No, I think anybody that knows you, Ed, or follows you understands that sometimes you just like to rock the boat. And,
Maybe.
you know, as long as the stabilizers can go out and right the ship, then that's all that matters.
Did you?
he's going to get pushed overboard, and so
Is there anything you missed or we missed that you wanted to share?
No, I think we pretty much covered it. We're hoping to get through tomorrow and on to the next thing. But as Frankie said, we still got a lot of things in the works. And as soon as we can get them across the finish line, we can give you some more updates. But anytime we hear something, we'll get it out to, through Jenny and through you and through any other social media outlets we can do. So just keep staying tuned.
All right.
hey, let me
Jim
just
is the
ask.
stabilizer. I just
I
said the
know.
comment. Yeah.
Oh, there, Nancy, I'm blocking you after today. That's it.
And sometimes I'm the enforcer, Nancy. So, have you noticed an uptick in people coming back? Have you noticed it start yet, or is it still a little early for season?
I think it's still a little early, but this weekend there was quite a bit of traffic. There was a lot
Mhm.
of people out on the beach. We're still seeing people parking on people's private lots. There's nothing we can do about it. But if you're coming to the beach, just have some respect for these people. They've had a rough year. They've lost their house. They've cleaned up their property, and you parking your cars on there and leaving your garbage on their property is not doing anybody any good. So we saw it up and down the island again and again. There's nothing we can do, and there's nothing the sheriff's office can do unless the homeowner calls in and complains about it. But I saw 2 or 3 lots down by Beach Baptist area where people were parked out with their cars again on someone's private property. And just be respectful. You wouldn't want someone coming to your house and pulling in your front yard or your backyard. So
Right.
just
Are these
do unto
empty
others
lots?
as you do unto yourself. What's that?
Empty
Yeah.
lots? They're just pulling
Empty
right like
lots.
beach
Yeah,
front?
just empty lots. And
Thinking
it's
it's a parking lot.
thinking it's a parking lot. I think it was a camper was out on one and they were stuck in the sand and they were trying to dig it out. And it's like, now you're digging up people's, they spent a lot of money to put this sand in there and you're now digging it up because
Yeah.
you thought you were smart and drove out on to dig 10 feet closer to the beach.
One more thing. I'm not going to be able, I can't come up with the street. But there's a huge scour. Oh,
Beachside or beach?
beachside. Is that, maybe
There's one
Hibiscus,
directly,
that
there's
area?
one directly across the street from Hibiscus where the old
Yeah.
surf
See,
nuts
that's
used to
what I said.
be.
Yeah. There's a
Yeah,
tree down.
Yeah,
it's a
big giant
big
tree.
scour.
Big tree.
Yep.
So
Yep.
What happens there? How does that get cleaned up?
We'll send them if they haven't
it's a
been sent the
property
letter. It's a
Gotcha.
property owner that owns several properties on the island. So,
I see.
But
we
it's like-
can't. Yeah, it's not safe. That's for sure.
Right.
well, there used to be a property there because that's it looks like a claw came in and just took a huge chunk out.
That's where the old Surf and Us used to be, right across the street from Hibiscus. And Surf and Us was taken down before the storm. And then when the storm came in, everybody knows that Hibiscus got hit pretty hard. There was nothing there to stop that surge. So the first 6, 7, 8 houses in on both sides were completely demolished. And then when the water went back out, it just scoured that section completely out. And it wasn't just that lot, it was lots on either side. But those homeowners have chosen to do the right thing and level their lots and make it safe again. And this owner has chosen not to do that.
Did you say surfer nuts?
Surf and Us.
Okay, was that like a vacation rental building or?
It was kind of a funky, cool old Andrew Lloyd Wright type building. There was actually Heidi and Bruiser used to manage that way back in the day before it was demolished. So it was a cool little spot and you always had a good breeze that came through there. And then they tore it down. There was plans to build something else. Then obviously the hurricane came. But if the person that owns that property is listening, please do something because it's a very dangerous scour that we don't want anybody getting hurt.
Yeah, somebody
Yeah.
that might think that's just an open spot to go walk across to the beach. I mean, there's plenty opening. They might definitely get hurt in there. I mean, that tree is
It's a pretty
huge
big
too.
rip-off, too.
Well, that's so it's people getting hurt, but it's there's a lot. I got to assume there's a lot of liability there if you're not someone cuts through your property and you don't have it secure and they get hurt. I mean,
Right.
Expensive properties.
All right, Dan. Thank you so much, and we will see you for the marathon session tomorrow at the Diamond Head at starting at 11 o'clock. Good luck with all that.
I'll do my best to be there.
All right, Dan Allers,
tomorrow.
everybody, and thanks again. And thanks again to Frankie for joining us, and thank you all for tuning in. And one of the things I did want to mention is with this group of folks, we and I'm a nobody. I know I'm a nobody. It's a dinky podcast, but at least we have a news product that goes out and people do read it. If we disagree on something, we always will talk the next day and everything's fine. It's not like there are grudges or anything is
You're lucky.
yeah, we can, dear. You can disagree with people on topics and it still be okay.
That's the way you do it.
I know.
Like
I need
it.
to work on that.
I
It's nobody's
Sleeper.
there. Yes. All right. Always going to work on being better, dear. Thanks to you. Before we go, we need to make sure you know about Dorston Claims. Mark Dorston has been helping people on Fort Myers Beach for over a year now. a little bit over a year. So if you're still getting screwed by your insurance company and denied the claim, please give Mark Dorston a call at 239-849-2949. That's 239-849-2949. Go ahead.
Just say something before I go to the next one. I see Frankie's still in.
Yeah,
So can he hear what we're saying?
you can.
Okay.
We
So
do.
I just want to say that I love your bird. I think I heard your bird whistle
Yeah.
in the
No,
background.
I definitely heard the bird go.
And so
Such a sexist bird.
if you saw me laugh like
Yeah.
in the middle of the interview, that's it was in response to Frankie's bird whistling.
And our
So-
last sponsor of the night is Power Block Builders. They built over hundreds of structures for Lennar Homes and other developers since 2017. They're a father and son company. Oscar Jr. is the licensed general contractor and roofing contractor, and Oscar Sr. is the mason. Have you ever met a family with two Oscars in it?
Yeah, juniors and seniors.
Yeah, he's the mason by trade. I mean, Oscar it's not an Ed name. Over 35 years of concrete experience, and the youngest brother, Kellen. Oh, that would have been funny if the youngest brother was also Oscar. Oscar 1 and Oscar 2 is a field superintendent for Power Block. Give Power Block Builders a call at 849-1919, 849-1919. All right, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. Tomorrow's a big day. We have some breaking news in our newsletter in the morning, and we will be carrying the LPA meeting starting at 10 o'clock and then the joint LPA Town Council meeting right after that at 11 o'clock. If you have any interest in seeing what's happening with the comprehensive plan, tomorrow is the day for you to get.
What do you think's going to happen?
I don't know. I think I saw that there might be some changes, but as long as
I
it's
hope it stays the
solidified.
same. I hope it stays as close to the same as
Well,
possible.
now, why would you say that?
Because
You have no vote.
I have no vote. I just think that it was created and it's a good working document, and that's what you hear. That's what I hear people say.
That is what
They
we hear a
just-
lot of people
yeah.
say.
So
Well,
I'm
we'll
with
see.
those people.
You're with those people. All right. We will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in, and bye-bye.